Do you ever feel like, I can't change? Is there ever a part of you that you want to change, a feeling, an emotion, a memory, guilt, shame, things that you don't seem to be able to change? Or things that are going on in your life that you feel are not moving fast enough or not happening, like or problematic, like relationship conflict that you haven't been able to resolve, or abundance issues, or any transformation you're trying to achieve that you feel like isn't going fast enough. These are all things that we want to change. And it's understandable and normal for people to feel like, I've done so much and still like what I want hasn't happened. I've worked with so many therapists and still my partner and I have conflict. I've worked with so many therapists and still I have those negative thoughts and emotions. I've been working in this business for years and still I feel like it's not profitable enough. Whatever it is for you, you can apply consciousness to your process of changing. And here's how it works. The other day, I was trying to, in the fireplace, I was trying to move the little metal screen that shields, that keeps any popping embers in the fireplace. I was trying to move it, to slide it. And I hadn't gone down and under to see what it looked like. And I was trying to move it and it was hard to move it. I would push and it wouldn't move. Until I looked underneath, I looked in, I looked up and I saw, oh, okay, there's the pole that this screen slides on. And there are the hooks that hold onto it. And now I can just, if I just push it in just this direction, it'll move. And once I saw that, once I had that vision, that insight, that information, that consciousness, that awareness, I was able to use it very smoothly. And so our patterns that we want to change, the dynamics in our lives that we want to change are a lot like that. And the process of applying consciousness to those patterns is like that. We basically want to look under the hood, get in there and get to know all the parts of it and how they move and how they interact and what starts them and what happens when they end and what are the implications of all of it and how does it all fit together. And that's part of the process of applying consciousness and self-awareness and mindfulness and wisdom and understanding in order to heal, change, grow, evolve, and to achieve the transformations and results that we want. Another example is if you go to a place, let's say there's a town that you usually drive by, and in the past you would just drive by it, you wouldn't even drive through it, you'd just drive around it. Well, as you get to know that town better, maybe you drive through it once, twice, 3 times, then maybe you stay there for a night and you explore it. Eventually you can get to know the entire town, all the streets, all the alleys, all the stores. You can get to know everything about the town. And then once you do, you can choose. Do you want to stop in this town or do you want to go around it? And what's the fastest way around it? Or do you want to go through the town? Once you know the town well, you don't get lost in it. Once you know the town well, you don't get lost and feel overwhelmed in it and feel like, oh, I can't get out of this town. And that's what it can be like when you apply consciousness to healing, resolving feelings and patterns. You can get to the point where you get back, you remember that feeling, for example, and in the past, it might have pulled you in and you might have gone into a rut and felt bad and painful and afraid and angry or frustrated. Once you know the town well, once you know the feeling well, then you know your way out of it. You know, oh, I've been here a million times. I know what it's like here. I know what this town is all about. I know what gets done in this town, and I'm not interested in being in this town right now. And you can move through it. Or you can navigate around it because you know all the roads. So that's what it's like to apply consciousness to a pattern in yourself and to use it to change. Most people think they know their pattern completely and they're like, well, why am I not changing? Why is it still here? I understand this. And usually there's more to understand. Like the quote, the pain you feel is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. That quote is by Khalil Gibran, a poet. The pain you feel is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. If there's still pain, there's still more to understand. And usually we get impatient and try to short circuit that process rather than just simply continue to understand more and more until all the pain is gone. So with your feelings, when we apply that metaphor of the map and the town and consciousness, here's how you can apply it to the way you feel and your thoughts and your emotions and your patterns. You want to get to know your thoughts, emotions, patterns, and feelings just like you might get to know a town inside and out. You want to get to know all the roads that lead into it, right? So like how do you get triggered into that pattern, into that feeling? And you want to know all the roads that lead out of it. How do you typically step out of it? Does it take you time? Does it take you to remember a certain piece of information that grounds you again? Does it take another type of experience? You want to get to know the workings of the town and what's happening in the town. So you want to get to know, what are all the thoughts and emotions and feelings associated with that and with that pattern? What are the dynamics of it? How and what are its characteristics? You get to know it in detail. You study it, you become familiar with it. So familiar with it. And as you do become familiar, and the feeling as well, the feeling is so important that you don't only do this mentally, that you don't only do this intellectually, that you allow yourself to feel the feeling of it, to really feel it so that you can recognize it, not just mentally, so that you can recognize it from emotion, from the sense of the feeling. So that then, as you get to know this pattern like this, as you become conscious of this pattern, as you can basically hold the pattern in your hand and look all around it and rotate it in your hand, then when it starts to come up, you're like, I know this pattern. I know how it thinks. I know how it feels. And I know why it's coming up. And I know that it isn't useful. And I know I can see its dysfunction so clearly. In fact, I see how unnecessary it is so clearly that I have full capacity to simply move past it onto the next thing, because I've been there, I've spent so much time there, I've gotten to know it so well that now truly, in all parts of my being, I recognize that that's not a town that I want to be in. It's not a town that I need to be in. There's no reason for me to be in that town. Whatever fear or anxiety would make me feel like I need to be in that town or experience that feeling, I've moved past that, because I now recognize that going into that town or going into that feeling is actually not at all how I want to spend my time. So that can be achieved if you allow yourself to become familiar with, to become very conscious of whatever it is that you're trying to resolve in your life. And one difficulty that we have with this is that we've all been conditioned to deny, suppress, avoid, reject our pain. Whether that pain is like anger or sadness or hatred or frustration or some seeming problem, we've all been taught to act like we don't have these things. We've all been taught to present ourselves in society as if we don't have these things. And we've all been taught to just try to avoid them or distract from them using TV and hobbies and food and other stuff and alcohol. And so it doesn't feel safe for us, it doesn't feel natural for us to actually sit with the things that we want to change. It doesn't feel safe for us to actually just sit with and become familiar with the pain that we feel. We haven't been raised to feel safe with that. That being said, a practice that I do highly recommend, that one of our wonderful spiritual teachers, John Jones, taught to us was to sit in the middle of the pain. When you feel comfortable, please do not do this if you do not feel comfortable doing this. And do not do this until you're ready. And if you feel like you're not capable of doing this on your own, don't. That being said, all of the things that you might fear or feel, the pain that you might feel, in the end is just a recording. It's just a memory. It's just a projection. And that is why you can heal it. That is why you can clear it. That is why you can be free of it. And that is why it is safe to sit in the middle of it. And what I mean by that is to sit down, close your eyes, and allow yourself to feel it. And wherever the pain is, allow yourself to venture in there and feel it. And as you do, study it. Study the thoughts. Study the emotions. Study the memories. Study the interpretations. Study the projections. Study the assumptions that are part of that pattern, part of that pain. Get to know them so well and get to know the feeling and bring those two together, merge those two. All of those mental projections, imaginings that you have with that pattern and the feeling of it in your body. Bring those two together so that you come to recognize this pattern and know this pattern like the back of your hand, like a town that you grew up in, that you're ready to move on from. Because you've explored every nook and cranny, and now you know there's nothing left for you there anymore, and you're ready to move on. And that's one of the ways in which you can use consciousness, awareness, understanding, self-awareness to clear, heal, and resolve patterns and parts of you and issues in your life. I hope that this is helpful. If you want help with this, we are happy to help in a one-on-one coaching session. And I hope that you continue to watch and appreciate and enjoy and be helped by these videos.